Hey guys, hope you're all doing well. This is Warren from the SEO Club, and I wanted to share some quick thoughts regarding SEO going forward. So we're seeing quite a lot of changes, right? We're seeing Google pushing AI overviews. We're seeing a lot of updates that kind of leave us a bit in uncertain times. And we're seeing major players that are seemingly fully invested in AI. But what does this mean for us who work in the SEO industry? How do you optimize a website for AI? And the key thing which I wanted to discuss was essentially how I think user behavior will change going forward. Because we tend to see SEO from a very particular perspective. We see Google from a very particular perspective that the rest of the population does not. And what we typically look for when we're sort of optimizing the website is to have good quality content. But then we see Google releasing AI overviews, and suddenly the answer is that it's providing normal good. So in our brains, we think, okay, this is no good, and people will not be kind of accepting of this new content, of this new Google, and how Google has been changing. But I think there's a bit more to that. And the key thing that I wanted to dive into is how people sort of generally behave, what user behavior looks like. And what AI does, that search does not, is that it provides a higher level of convenience. And if the past is any indication of how people behave, is that people typically do love convenience, even if that comes at the cost of something else. So, for example, the example that's coming to mind is Facebook's scandal with Cambridge Analytica. There was a lot of kind of noise on the media, a lot of people who were complaining about how Google is tracking information and taking your data and sharing the data with third party companies. But has that really affected Meta? I mean, have people really stopped using Facebook and Meta products like Instagram or WhatsApp? I don't really think so. What's coming up next week is also Apple's dive into AI. So if we look at, the big companies that people typically engage with from a technology point of view, we have Microsoft, we have Google, who have been, fully on board with AI and have kind of led the charge so far. Apple, the third one, has stayed mostly silent so far. And they have said that, the devices have neural engines that are capable of doing AI. But since Apple's sort of marketing edge is the privacy that they provide, AI products are typically not necessarily tied with privacy. But that's going to change because Apple is going to introduce some sort of AI. It's still unclear what they're going to do. The keynote is next week, but what the rumors are saying is that Siri is going to have AI incorporated in it, so you can have more natural conversation with your voice assistant, and that they have also partnered with ChatGPT in order to do this. So that kind of begs the question: when AI comes to a device such as the iPhone, which is in everyone's hands, how is that going to change user behavior? And I think for us who work in SEO, we're still probably going to trust more organic results to a certain extent, but we kind of know what to look out for. But to the general public, I think that's not really going to matter too much. So if I gave an iPhone to my mom and I showed her the capabilities of AI search and how she can talk to AI to ask questions related to anything from health to travel to cooking, and the answer back is so natural. It's as if another human is talking to you. I think there will be a level where people might not necessarily question whether that's true or not. Now, that's not necessarily a problem when the answer is obviously wrong. When we're seeing such as, certain AI overview results where it says that, you need to drink urine in order to help your kidney, and that's obviously wrong. But what if when the answer is close to sounding true, but is not actually true? I think that is where most of the harm can be done to the consumer. And I think these big companies understand this. Google certainly understands this, and I think that's the reason why we've seen so many updates recently. And Google has been a bit, not a bit, quite a lot tight-lipped about what sort of updates they're rolling out, is because they want to get rid of all the abusive content that SEOs have been building throughout the last 15 years. And the reason it's doing this is because if their AI engine is learning and sort of developing and building answers based on content that is wrong, that means their AI product is bad by default. But if they're going to get rid of all the bad content from the web and what they consider to be good content, then their AI product is going to be good. And quick sort of slide in here with what quality content means. Google always says sort of the quality content needs to be quality content for the user. I think that's a bit bullshit. I think quality content means what Google deems to be quality content to serve its customers. So build content with that in mind. And what we're seeing is that from some of the recent updates is that brands have really gotten stronger, like the strong brands in typically any industry, and independent creators are typically struggling with ranking their pages and their products. It doesn't mean that they have bad content for the user, but if you're Google and you want to train an AI model on a reputable source of content, then the easiest way to do it is go to a brand that has a certain level of trust, a certain level of understanding and reputation and authority within that industry. And I think that's where kind of Google is headed. So we've seen like, the March update was quite huge when it came to Google taking down a quite a significant number of websites and efforts from SEOs who are trying to manipulate the engine. I think there's more to come. I think this is like we're in for the long haul with these types of updates that are going to get rid of huge amounts of the web from being indexed in Google. And the way that you can prevent this obviously in parentheses, I can't predict the future, but branding, although it has been important in past years, it has become even more important now. And don't think of branding as just, the logo and the name and the reputation of the company, but also how the brand interacts with its users. The reason I say that is when you understand and look at newer algorithms that have been developed recently, such as the TikTok algorithm, that is purely based on how a person engages with their product, then you start to see the impact of successful brands that have been doing a very good job there. And the difference between TikTok and Google is that Google, you have to do an action in order to get to the final product, but TikTok brings the product directly to you based on user behavior. And I think that's where Google wants to head. We see that Google also wants to start incorporating user generated content in their search. And they obviously have YouTube, but they're also indexing TikTok. They have partnerships with Reddit now. So that user element is also going to come into play. If you're an SEO in 2024, the struggle is real. You're not the only one who's feeling it and is unsure about where things are headed. But the sure thing to bank on right now is brand. If you're working in SEO and your SEO team is not yet involved with brand, with social media, with how that brand is represented with your customer, with the level of engagement that your brand has with your customer, then you need to get on it because that is going to have a significant impact in how your website is going to perform, not only in organic search, but in the likelihood of you showing up in AI results, getting references from AI results, and getting those customers through organic search and organic interaction with the customers. So that will be all. I just wanted to share a few quick thoughts. I'll answer any questions that you have below. Please subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video. Thank you.